This is Larry Hopper, and you're listening to the LONGBOX CRUSADE. What's in your long box?
The LONGBOX CRUSADE presents
G.I. Joe Chronicles.
Don't they realize they're dealing with Destro?
When I juice those buckets, they're gonna scrape you off the walls with a squeegee.
Now stop sputtering like a wet toaster and get busy!
Welcome to G.I. Joe Chronicles. I'm one of your commanders, Pat Sampson, codename DJ Kristatos. And joining me, as always, is my battle buddy in this operation, Jarrod Albrecht, codename Death Probe.
That is a prescription for danger.
Hey, Pat. How's it going, man?
It's going. It is really going. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying out some new camo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, obviously you must saw me because you're talking to me. Never mind.
Did you get that camo for Orsted? It's tie-dye. That's tie-dye. It's not even camo.
Oh, he said, like, here, put this on and wear it inside out. So
no, Orsted and his camo. You're only going to blend in at like a Grateful Dead concert. Anyways, that is DJ Kristatos. It's all the green shirts tuning in for this podcast. I want to welcome everyone to Fort Longbox. We appreciate you tuning in and talk some more G.I. Joe comics with us. We're continuing this chronicle all the way through G.I. Joe America's Elite on this episode. You know, we did the whole Devil's Due original run. Now we're in America's Elite. Of course, next episode, we'll be back to Special Missions by Marvel. But again, for this episode, we're going to focus on G.I. Joe America's Elite, which launched in 2005. On this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles, DJ Kristatos and I are going to rotate in a pair of Special Ops guests for the first time. We have a duo of Special Ops guests. One of them is a returner. The other one is his lovely wife. I want to welcome back Matt Paisso and his lovely wife, Lissy, codenames Serpy Matt and Cross Country's Girl. Welcome to the show, Paissos.
Good evening.
Hi.
Okay, now. All right. Usually we're going to have questions about your background on G.I. Joe. We got Matt's a little bit on the last one. I want to get Lissy's answers on this one. But before I get her answers, I think I need Matt, or if you guys have agreed someone else to tell the story, someone here needs to tell the story about how you guys met and how G.I. Joe was involved.
I can fill in that story and she can give you her background. Way back in ye olden days of the early internet, aka about 2000, 2001, there were these things called chat rooms. There was a program called MIRC, and you could go on there, find any kind of chat room you want to jump into. There were G.I. Joe role-playing chats. There were G.I. Joe fanfic chats, G.I. Joe fan chats. I bumped in and out of multiple ones, and we happened to meet on one. We met in a G.I. Joe fanfic chat room because we both wrote, and we talked online for a little over a year. He was like, I'll fly you up here. Let's see how things work out. So I was shocked, got me out of Louisiana. I came up for a little under a week and loved it up here. Figured, all right, we can maybe deal with each other in person. We'll see what happens. I went back home, moved up here, and a year later we were married. So thanks to G.I. Joe and Larry Hama, people have to deal with us together now.
And every time we see Larry at cons, we would go up and say hello and remind him how he was involved. And he just starts to grin like a proud papa. So we even have a picture of us that he drew with me cross country and him with Serpenter, and Larry's between us, and we're holding them up and just smiling.
Okay, now that we have that lovely story all done, let's go back to Lissy to find out who her three favorite characters from G.I. Joe are, be they Joe or Cobra.
Are you going to give me cross country as a gimme?
Since your code name is Cross Country's Girl, then yes.
Okay. So my other three favorite Joes are all from that same time release period, and they would be Dialtown, because I love his nerdiness. Also Lifeline, because, you know, he's a medic. And then it's a toss-up between Lowlight and Mainframe. Lowlight's kind of my bad boy, but Mainframe's my computer geek. So there you have it.
She likes the tech.
She likes the tech.
I do.
Dial Tone is one of my favorite shows.
And as you can see, she gives her top 3 like Pat gives her top 3 of anything.
Hey, right. I know. I notice how. I see how.
Hey, Matt.
Those are the ones I've written the most fanfic about.
There you have it. I think Lowlight is a low key, very good. Like he's high on my list. Underrated.
Very underrated.
All right, Pat. I think we've learned more than enough about Lissy. And of course, on next episode, I have a funny feeling they'll be back on next episode, and we'll talk about her favorite vehicles. We'll find out. But until then, DJ Kristatos, Intelligence Report, go!
All right, Jarrod, I'm glad you asked. For this mission, we will be covering G.I. Joe America's Elite number 6. It was published by Devil's Due. Got a cover date of December 2005. The artist for the first part of this issue is Stefano Caselli, and the second part is done by Stanley Lau. Colorist is Kendrick Lim and Ray Toa. Letterer is Steve Seeley and Brian Crowley. Cover art goes to Stefano Caselli and Joko Stantico. And speaking about the cover, Death Pro, please take us through the cover description.
Can do, Pat.
Take cover!
Issue 6's cover is a full wrap-around cover for another double-sized issue, as Pat hinted at in the Intelligence Report. Snake Eyes and Destro do some menacing poses at each other, and in the center is the face of Scarlett. Let us talk about this cool wrap-around cover, and we will start with Lissy.
Well, if you didn't see me roll my eyes when you said menacing poses, I was like, oh, geez, always with the menacing poses. It's pretty. It's shiny. It looks like Scarlett's crying. So, I don't know. It's just, you heard about it. I almost got banned by Jarrod because I think some of the drawing is just a little too muscly. Nobody's that ripped. Come on. And Destro's got to be, 100 by now? But other than that, yes, it's a very pretty cover, and it's the way it's set with the Destro and Snake Eyes forward, and she's kind of in the background and kind of muted and stuff like that. And I hear you guys have a problem with the thing across the top that kind of covers up art. So it's there.
It is there. I don't have any problems with this one so much with anything covering on it, but maybe Matt does. Matt, what do you think about this one?
To me, it's an interesting cover. The color on it, the way it kind of like dims in the back, to me, if you're not really paying much attention to it, it looks like Scarlett is staring into an aquarium that Destro and Snake Eyes are fighting in. But then when you think about it, okay, wait, they're underwater. That makes sense. So it's okay covering my book. I wasn't sure if that was Scarlett on it or not at first. It took me a minute, and it may have just been the muted colors. And once I pieced it, okay, well, yeah, it's Snake Eye, so it's got to be Scarlett. The muted colors really kind of like pulled me away from that bit for just a bit on the Scarlett. But I get why they did it.
Fair enough. Let's go to you, Pat.
You know, I didn't notice the aquarium-looking thing until Matt brought it up, and I did a double check on that, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and it makes sense of what they were doing. The more I look at this, in my head, I'm starting to hear this ding, 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 ding. This is what it looks like when Scarlett cries.
All right, so the whole time when I first looked at it, I thought she was crying too. I don't think she is. I think that's a hair curl.
I think so too, yeah.
But it gives the illusion, because her face is very downtrodden. I dig the fact that they did a kind of a neat thing with the wraparound cover, the mirrored images. I really like the from below lighting that's coming up, the green hues that they did with a lighting effect from the bottom. And I like the under the sea montage background. So yeah, I think it's kind of neat. I think it almost plays better though as a cover to where you flip to one to the other.
Yeah.
That makes it a little more fun. It's cool to look at when it's all spread out and everything, but yeah, I dig it.
And her makeup is on fleek, even though she's been beaten to crap.
Well, that's what she does.
She kicks butt so fast that she's got time to fix herself up. All right, well, let's go ahead and find out how you guys would rate this cover on a scale of 1 to 10 flag points. 1 meaning you didn't like it at all, and 10 meaning it's perfect and you should make a recruiting poster out of it for diving under the sea, or at least maybe for a cool aquarium shop. And we will start with Matt this time. Matt, 1 to 10 flag points for this cover.
So for me with this cover, I would probably give it about a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad cover, but I wouldn't put it on my wall, and these 3 aren't in my top 3.
All right. That's fair enough. We'll go to Lizzie.
5.
All right. That's fair. Jarrod.
Ish.
She put an ish on it.
Yeah,
I will give it I like Destro a lot. And I like Snake Eyes a lot and like Scarlett a lot. So that's adding up well for me. Double size wraparound. I'm very comfortable at an 8 for this one. What about you, Pat?
I'm going to join Matt on this one with 2 cool guys at a 7 on this one. It's good enough. You know, I guess I understand why Snake Eyes is on it, but where is he in this issue? You know, I don't know, but I do like the Destro. He's looking pretty cool on this one as well. And Scarlett, not bad.
2 cool guys on Aquarium Island.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I like that. With the cover out of the way, let's go back to Death Probe for the story synopsis in our mission brief.
Look in the eyes of a hero and see the sacrifice within. There's no way out for the hero. He only lives to fight again. Heroes install not for fortune or fame, protect freedom because we all just wanted the same. Real heroes don't give up.
This is a double-sized issue with 2 stories in it, so let's get into the first story, The Hunt for True Love. Joe Colton cannot get approval from the president for the Joe team to track down the beacon signal that Snake Eyes received from Scarlett. So he tells the Joe team that he's not ordering that mission. Wink, wink. The team goes rogue and begins to hunt for Scarlett. A quick check-in with Duke in South America reveals that he's hunting someone evil, and he's just found some kind of superstructure that's rising from the jungles. Meanwhile, Destro's son Alexander is convinced that his father has lost his mind, so he plans to get rid of Scarlett by firing her out of their submarine's torpedo tube until he's caught by Destro. Who is Duke looking for? Will the Joes locate Destro's sub? And what will be the cost of Alexander going against the will of Destro? I guess we'll have to wait till next issue. Now I will get into the second story. The Past Comes Back, Part 2. Stalker and Storm Shadow have escaped their makeshift swamp prison, but now Storm Shadow must take on all the Dreadnoks himself, since Stalker is still dying from Xandar's poison dart. That's a tall order, even for a ninja. It's a good thing that Gung Ho shows up to even the odds. Storm Shadow eventually gets the upper hand on Zartan by finding the Master of Disguise's most treasured item and trading it for the antidote to save Stalker. The treasured item is a childhood photo of Zartan that he needs at regular intervals to center himself due to his psychosis.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Okay, let's get into the highs and lows and what-does of the issue. We will start with Matt. It's round 1.
I'll address story 1 first so we can keep it in order. One thing that kind of jumped out to me, and it's really a small one-off kind of thing. I want to know, is the president in this story, is he a Fred? Is that why he's not letting the Joes go after Joes? Because he knows something's up? Or is it completely just bureaucratic stuff?
I don't know, but that is a good question.
Yeah, that doesn't make you think of one.
He's not the most helpful. Government's been real cagey about Joe since this one relaunched, right? They got him down to the dozen roster, and they're being very kind of strict with it. And so it's interesting that they haven't had the usual level of cooperation.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, is it like maybe Fred, maybe jugglers? Is there something there, or am I just like shooting too far?
I don't remember, so we're going to find out together as we chronicle these comic books. And we will go from your round 1 to Cross Country Girls round 1. What do you think for your round 1? You got a high or a low or a what's your initial thought?
My initial thoughts were, number one, I didn't recognize any of the Joes except one. That was Roadblock. And my second was, when did Destro have a kid? When did Lady J die? And the Baroness is pregnant? So I was like really lost because I stopped reading the comics literally when they almost killed Cross Country off. They did kill Doc off, and that really upset me. So that was the first things that ran through my mind. Otherwise, it's just the normal, oh, you can't do this. Oh, watch us go do this. And they're doing it.
That's fairly accurate.
Damsel in distress. Let's go rescue her. She needs to kick everybody else's butt and get out on her own. And she's capable of it.
That's true. Scarlett is quite capable. To answer all your lingering questions about the other stuff that you need to be caught up on, I can recommend a podcast that will just take you right through those issues.
Gee, I wonder. Matt said something about a podcast I could listen to.
Yeah, there's a podcast that'll take you all the way through all those issues you missed. While you do that, though, let's check it on Pat for round one.
I don't know what to say about Matt. I would have thought at least he would have been so excited to say, obviously he's talking about the podcast, but also to say, hey, you should read these. Or at least he would be telling you the story of G.I. Joe as he was listening to the podcast. So, man, that's how I put my wife to sleep at night, as I tell her stories of G.I. Joe and all that I'm learning. And then I talk about all the podcasts.
In his defense, he tried to do that.
Okay.
And it would not put her to sleep. She would just stay up going, ooh, tell me more G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay. Well, then, or you go on a long trip and you're kind of locked in the car, Fun things to do with your wife.
Just a quick question for you, Pat, before you run off at the mouth, because I know you're going to. Alexander, he first appeared in this series, right? Devil's Due?
Correct. He was first in the Devil's Due early one. Yeah. Remember, because he was...
Everybody thought he was Destro at the beginning. That's right.
And then Destro said, no, man. And then he put him in his place.
Yeah, that was cool.
Along with his lady friend, put her in place.
I told you he was going to keep going. All right. All right, Pat, what do you got for the round one?
I am enjoying the artwork on this. I think I have been for quite a while through this series. I really like it. A little bit more heavier darks in this one, but still pretty good. All in all, I think what I really like is the layouts that are being done to help tell the story. That is something that has always been kind of catching my eye in these issues as we go through them. I think panel by panel, that storytelling is being done perfectly. This is a double-sized one, so it kind of threw me for a loop, but it read pretty quick and fast through it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you got kudos for the arts and the layouts and the fast pacing. I'm down with all that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I'll add for round one, I'm getting increasingly more interested in what the heck is going on with Duke. Because they have been dangling this one for a while.
And I'm like, I would agree with you there.
I know. Well, that's okay, Matt, because it's your turn to go anyway for round two. You can dip back into story one if you like, or you can move on to story two, whatever you're feeling.
There's not much more I wanted to add on story one, except Alexander has really messed up.
Hasn't he?
I'm surprised that he did. I mean, I understand.
Oh, I'm not. He's Destro's son, and he doesn't have the years of experience Destro has, so...
Yeah. True.
He can't even go hide anywhere. He's on a submarine.
And is he going to blend in? Oh, no, I'm the other guy with the metal head. Oh, you're Destro.
Go to your room. Just go to your room.
You're grounded.
You're grounded.
Yeah. I'll touch on the second story after people add anything else. But that was the other thing. Like, Alexander, I get what he was trying to do, but he probably should have, not lived by ask for permission, later. Yeah. It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Don't live by that with Crazy Destro. The first story, it was okay for me. The second story, I absolutely loved it. I could probably gush for your whole episode about story 2 itself. I love the art. I love the colors. There was great character moments for everybody, like Gung Ho showing up. He felt like Gung Ho from the cartoon to me. The cartoon is my G.I. Joe. I could see that. I was happy Xandar showed up. Yeah, the Zartan and Storm Shadow moments were fantastic. It showed that, oh yeah, Zartan did have this ninja training. he is more of a threat than just a disguise guy. He is to be taken seriously.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Blaylock clearly having some fun. You've heard the episodes because you listen when Blaylock's been on. He clearly just loves playing in that. It's much more of an 80s story. That one is, and he's having a lot of fun with that. And with that, we will pass the mic over to Lissy. Did you have some thoughts maybe on the more 80s-ish story too?
I actually love the way the artwork was done. I like the palettes and the kind of color soften. It's really softened. One thing about me and G.I. Joe is when I got involved with it, my little brother is to blame for that. I really like to come up with backstories and things like that in my mind. Most people don't know that Cross Country's married with 5 kids, and he's driving in dirt track racing right now. But I really liked it that it went back into kind of like a backgroundish type of story instead of just being, oh, here, we're going to fight, we're going to shoot at each other, and blah, 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 blah. And there was a lot of subtle chess play between Zartan and Storm Shadow, when they were, going back and forth. When did Zartan have a kid? Okay. So
I got a podcast you can listen to.
But yeah, no, it was, I really, really liked it because yes, it was more 80s, which the cartoon is my thing too. I didn't expect that end. I was like, what has he got in that suitcase? And I was thinking it wasn't anything like military or computer chips or anything like that. But when it was a picture, I was just like, oh, is that Zartan surrounded? Oh, wow. And their parents look normal. What happened to them? So
good question.
That's what I thought.
Excellent thoughts. And I think it was even last issue where Zartan wasn't even sure, like, if Xandar and Zorana were his real brother and sister. And that's kind of neat that he's able to use that photo to center himself and remind himself, because I think that's heavily hinted at that they are in the photo.
And I just love Zorana going to his daughter, Xania, is that it? Her name?
Yeah, I think
going,
so, Xania.
You don't tell a soul about this. And I'm thinking, bribery information. So,
those two have never gotten along, by the way, in this series. Zorana and Xania do not get along.
Not everybody can be the cool aunt, okay?
What are you saying, Pat?
That part, when you find out that she said that, and she said this, this happens, it must be, I don't know, every year or just when it happens. I'm like, wow, I wonder how many times this would have happened even in the original series. How many times that was going on in his mind if he was this freaked out about it.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. Like, definitely got that sense that he has to check in on this every certain. I don't know what the time frame is, but if he doesn't recenter, I think he will completely lose himself.
I teach mental health as part of my job. To see that backstory of what he went through, he's got the bottle of lithium, so he has mental health issues. They haven't said specifically what it is. There's a good chance that it's one or two. But then on top of that, now he's dipping into all these different personalities, and he's really getting into those roles.
I think he has multiple personality disorder.
Yes, very much so. I would agree with that.
Got it from a professional. All right, Pat, what you got on story 2 that you need to add to this? Or if you got some burning thought on story, we all know you're going to do what you're going to do.
I got a little bit of both. So I'm going.
Who knew? Who knew?
I got multiple personalities with different stories going on here. So you mentioned Duke going on. I thought that was a cool character moment. There was a lot of cool character moments in the first story as well. You still have the angstiness against Storm Shadow from Shipwreck and Roadblock. You got them kind of guessing and second guessing, a little bit of gung-ho as well too, with second guessing, especially when he came to Stalker. And you got Stalker just being Stalker, he's being the cool guy that we all know and love from the beginning.
Top tier Joe from day one.
Yeah, even though he's he's gonna almost die or whatever, you see still being cool Stalker guy and just going, it doesn't matter, man. He's on our team. We're all in this together.
What I'll add to that real quick is, I know Jarrod has always said like Stalker is one of his top tier Joes.
100%.
To me, because I didn't read the comics growing up, I watched cartoons. Stalker wasn't there, so
Oh, right. Because by then he kind of really got replaced by Duke.
Yeah, and Stalker was like just in the first series for a little bit, and like I didn't know much about him, but reading the comics and learning, I'm like, okay, I can totally see why people love Stalker.
From the moment he fought that alligator with nothing but a knife back in like issue 9 or whatever it was.
Well, he's just been there, you know. He's an original Joe. He is
like an
original
Joe.
Yeah, he is an OG Joe.
Tommy. And
yep. And he's still around and he's still doing this. That's just really cool and awesome. Duke, you touched on it. What's going on with Duke? Love it and enjoy it. I want to know more what's happening. So I'm going to say, is he looking for Serpentor or is he looking for Cobra Commander?
Do you know who he's looking for, Matt? You look like you got confidence. I have no idea. Don't spoil it for me.
I know it's not Serpentor.
Oh, I don't. Or Serpentor.
No, it's Serpentor. Yeah,
Serpentor.
He's raising his
Serpentor.
Yeah.
Lizzie's calling the shots now.
So I know it's not Serpentor. I'm trying to remember if it's Major Blood. That's what keeps jumping.
I remember they kind of had a thing back in like issue 8 of the first Devil's Due. Remember there was a whole issue just like a backstory.
Is Firefly still around?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he's pretty dangerous.
I don't remember, so I'm looking forward to finding that.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to finding that out.
It would be neat if it was Major Blood because they did plant that seed. I think it was issue 8 of the Devil's Due last run. It was like a flashback story of just like Duke tracking down Major Blood.
Oh, sure.
Before the team got reformed.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking that. So
it would be neat if it was.
No,
that would be good foreshadowing.
We will find out. Going to the second story, some quick highlights. I like the art, just the soft coloring, the paneling work that's done in the storytelling. But my question is, when did this take place? I can't remember if it was said in the first part of this story in the issue we read before. When is this taking place? Because Storm Shadow can't be in two places.
Neither can Stalker.
Yeah.
This has to have been set
maybe prior. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was my first thought too. I was like, oh, hey, wait a minute.
But it's a little confusing because it's the second story. So, you logically, which still exists in some people's minds, it being second.
Yeah.
I guess you could look at it either way. It could be a flashback from the past, or maybe something's going to happen in the near future. Either way, I guess works.
Maybe that's why they did the colors the way, like, more muted. Hey, it's a flashback.
That's honestly what I was thinking. I was like, anytime they go like painted stuff and they don't use an inker, I always just assume flashback.
In my mind, where I'm placing this is like right before the Wingfield stuff started happening. A little bit.
I'm sure you just drop it just about anywhere. And I'm sure Blaylock wrote it that way on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. We have made it through a lot of good discussion on this. There's a lot to talk about. Like Matt said, we could go for a while on this one.
I just want to thank Josh Blaylock for that backup story.
That was great.
I loved it that much. It was phenomenal. I made sure who wrote this? It was Josh. All right. I have to give him props for that.
I think a lot of it is what we had kind of already talked about. It's fun to get a book that has a modern Joe story and one that feels very 80s. It'd be like, Pat and I, we do a lot of stuff on the James Bond Network. It'd be like picking up one that's got sort of a modern Daniel Craig first half, and the second half is like a 60s throwback with Connery. You get both, and it's pretty.
Yeah, it's a good match.
It is. It really is. But let's find out how good, because somebody around here has got to run the whole IG's report for combat readiness. I nominate you, Pat.
Well, I guess I'll take that nomination and I will run with it. So, for those of you that don't speak military, that means we're going to score this issue story on the same 1 to 10 flag point scale we used earlier. So, let's go ahead and find out. We'll start with Lizzie. 1 to 10 flag points. How would you rate this issue?
I would give it probably a 7. Only because I didn't like the first section because I was just so far lost in it.
I can see, if this is you just probably first time reading it,
Yeah, but the second story redeemed it from the depths of the ocean.
Yep.
Literally, the ocean.
All right. Definitely can understand where you're coming from. Matt?
I'm going to break it up. I would give the first story an 8. Because I've been following along. I liked it. I want to see where we're going. I like all the little things they're dropping in. The backup story, I give that an 11. I would steal someone else's flag points. So overall, I'm going to give this issue a 9.
You can have mine, dear.
Stealing flag points or figures in one way or another have been done.
Easy.
Ain't nothing new to the show. Speaking about nothing new to the show, Jarrod.
Speaking of stealing things. You know what? I'm going to land on that 9. Pretty much the same exact reasoning as Matt. I like the continuation of what's going on in the modern story, and I really like what Josh did with that more 80s, quote unquote 80s style backup story. What about you, Pat?
I'm with you guys as well. So 3 cool guys sitting on Cool Island, 3 Cool Island here.
You just got to figure out that it's Pat. Whoever matches Pat's score is a cool guy. That's how this works.
He doesn't know me very well, does he?
Maybe we'll see where we match on the next thing that's being covered. We could be that way. But for now, I'm at a 9. I like the second story just like you guys. The second story was really good, but I am still invested in that first story on where things are going. You know, I like that they got the cool ship guys together. You know, you got some underwater action that is going to happen.
Yeah, I like it. Looks like they end with the super shark or something. So we'll see where they're going.
Yeah, let's see. I like that too. It's like, you've got some time driving this, haven't you? Yeah, a couple hours in simulation time or whatever, but who cares? Let's go. Now that we got the scores out of the way, let's go ahead and find out who you're going to give a Silver Star medal to or a Silver Snake for sneaky snakiness in action. This is where we each get to award the character in this issue who went above and beyond the call of duty or below and sneaky-tudness of duty. So we'll go ahead and find out from Matt. Do you have a Silver Star or a Silver Snake to hand out?
I have a Silver Snake to hand out. I'm going to give this one to our devious dreadnought Zartan.
Ooh.
We saw his backstory. We saw his history. We saw his struggles. We saw what he goes through. But you also see that family matters to him. It's what keeps him grounded. Mm-hmm. And you also see he's still got that honor there. He could have tossed Storm Shadow something fake, not the antidote. He could have chased him down after he got his box of memories back and taken him out, but he didn't. So there's a little bit of honor there.
That you bring up a good point, because I think I liked in this issue, it showed him trying to make amends for what he had done early, in the Marvel run where with the Arakashai. I always get that name mixed up, but Arishakraki Shan clan.
It'll work. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. With Tommy's
those red stripy ninjas.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. It's like there's things going on there, and the more you get in his backstory in that short bit of story, makes you wonder, was he really as bad as he wanted to be, or was there things that pushed him that way?
Good catch. Lizzie, are you using the same character, or are you going to pick somebody else for a Silver Star or a Silver Snake?
Can I give out a Silver Stupid to Alexander?
Okay, so it's not to somebody on the podcast. Okay, yes.
No. Oh, heavens, no. Since I'm brand new, this is the first time I really couldn't land on something. But Alexander pulled a stupid, okay? So he's going to get my
first time
star of stupidity.
We have a new award, Pat. It's a Silver Snake, but he's got like a sad face. He's like,
We'll call it our Orsted's
You Tried Hard award.
Frowny.
Orsted's
He gets an aluminum Orsted.
Orsted's like, hey, man.
It's okay.
No. It's not aluminum. I can recycle that. Make it something a little less recyclable.
No, it has to be, because that's Orsted's role.
Yeah, he's
all about the earth, man. I'm just all about keeping the earth clean.
Oh, that's right.
We're just rolling it, We just
I would have made it
take
wet.
from Mother Earth, but we give back.
Yeah.
It's up. You take it.
It's Orsted's Try Hard award.
And then you give back. Yeah,
he did his best.
Orsted. Yeah, you did your best. Yeah, it's your Orsted's Everybody Wins.
Yeah.
You did a good
My
job.
nephew, he's not the brightest bulb in our family tree, but you know.
I still love him, man. I still love him.
The submarine wasn't going up fast enough, so he was like, if we can just get this lady off of it, it would go up faster.
And I was like, you guys, it's just too much time in a sub. You should be spending your time eating a sub. That's the better way to go. Nobody gets hurt. Everybody's full. And we're happy. We're just
gluten-free, though, man.
Yeah, man. That's cool. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Zartan as well, too. I think between all the stories, this was the better story. And I really enjoyed the character moments for him. And just to see that it's a picture that keeps him pulled together. It's my original thought that it was his baby, a picture of his baby girl that was, because she kind of got sad. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's a picture of her. But it's not. Jarrod, who's your silver snake or silver star?
I rarely mention this on podcast, Pat, but I used to be in the leadership training business. So
wait a minute.
I'll give you a minute to soak that up.
Yeah.
So I have to give my star to General Colton, who's having to walk a very fine line of leadership, reporting to his boss, which is pretty much directly the president, not getting done what he wants to get done, still having to be a professional, but he's like, all right, you guys, don't you dare winkety wink wink take that vehicle and try to go find Scarlett. I'll be mad if you guys go to this point on this map over here, like within the next few hours, and go look for Scarlett.
I double dog dare you.
So I'm gonna give it to Joe Colton for this one, Pat.
That is definitely a good choice, and I would approve of that one. Speaking about approvals, let's go ahead and find out what Jarrod has in his toy chest in a segment we call Death Probe's Toy Chest.
It's here, the G.I. Joe collection, each sold separately. G.I. Joe from Hasbro.
I see Matt's eyes getting so big.
You made my day with this one.
All right. In this segment, I'll take something or someone featured from this issue and give you a brief toy history on it. For this issue, I've selected Xandar.
Here's the Cobra Swamp Fire aboarded our Zartan sister Zarana and their brother Xandar.
Swamp's copper changes color in bright sunlight, takes to the air to continue the fight.
And now you're looking at the Dreadnought's Thunder Machine.
Dreadnought's Thunder Machine, meanest machine you've ever seen, and it's out to get G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe!
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Swamp Fire and Dreadnought's Thunder Machine with driver sold separately.
Xandar was released in Series 5 in 1986 and was discontinued in 1988. He has red hair with a turquoise bandana and a pink scarf. He's shirtless. He's got red face and body paint with blue shoulder pads and a blue shoulder holster with a black pistol in it. He's got gray pants with a yellow belt and a blue knife holster, brown boots with gold knee pads attached and brown gloves.
That guy stole my fit.
He has the drip, as the kids would say. Yeah. He came with a black rifle and a blue backpack. He had the thermal sensitive skin like Zartan did. Bizarrely enough, his file card art changes, and no one's even really sure why. They look very, very similar. Same pose and all that. Just in the second version, his hair is a little shorter and he has a little less face paint. I don't know why Hasbro made the decision to slightly change his art. My only guess, because I sat there and tried to research, couldn't find anything. Maybe Jim, the Joe Junkie, knows. Maybe Gary V, the usual Scott. Maybe somebody knows out there. My best guess was, I'm not even convinced myself, was maybe like a lot of people, when they first looked at the art, thought it was a female character with the longer hair and the painted face. That was my only guess, that maybe they dialed it back a little to be very clear that it was a male character. That was my only guess, and I'm not even convinced of that.
I could see that in the 80s.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because he looked a lot like Jem, which is truly outrageous.
Yeah, he could definitely fit in, well, more the Misfits than the holograms.
Yeah, I do know enough to know what's going on here. That's a whole other podcast we'll do sometime, Matt.
If they wanted to make him less feminine back then, they should have taken away the pink shirt.
Yeah, the Yeah, I don't know. Because he's very sort of clearly like he has no shirt on. Somebody's very muscular.
I can see him hanging out with Poison. You know?
Yes.
Glam Man,
It's very glam rock.
He's all about nothing but a good time.
Exactly. and doesn't get any better than this.
All right, back to what I was talking about. Strangely enough, for a character who's fairly popular, a lot of people like Dreadnoks, there's only, as of this recording, which is August of 2024, two versions. And if you were watching the video of this, you'd see Matt holding up both versions of Xandar. And they're both great. So, yeah, who knew? At this point, I'm supposed to go around the room to find out who had the toy. Pretty sure Matt does because he just held up both of them, which by proxy means Lissy has them.
No. He has his stuff. I have mine.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure my little brother had it. So that's what I would go with.
Oh, fair enough. Very cool. What about you, Pat? Did you have him back in the day or have him acquired more recently? Either one?
No. Either way, I did not have Xandar. But I thought he was a cool character.
Was very cool. And I feel like I did score a Xandar legitimately, Pat, at some point. But I'm pretty sure I picked him up as a swap or in a used market in some capacity.
Okay.
Back to you, Pat.
Next up is our feedback segment called Combat Comms.
Call it G.I. Joe! Go get Breaker! He can do it!
As always, we'll start off Combat Comms with our roster of our battle-hardened Crusader Club veterans. These are the fine folks that have joined our Crusader Club. They enjoy early access to special LONGBOX video episodes, early live recordings as we record episodes live, free raffle giveaways, voting on show programming, and so much more. So these are the folks reaping that benefit and enjoying some much appreciated support to the show.
Alan W. Wright.
And Helica Wolf.
Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Billy D.
Bradley DeLoe.
Braxton Underwood.
Clinton Basement Robinson.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins, codename Battle Wagon.
Battle Wagon.
Eric Hodges.
Eric Porter.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V.
Gene Hendricks.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeff Polier.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
With some Jim Neal.
Joe Man Conan.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright, the MVP.
Hey, I know these people. That's Matt and Lissy Paisso.
Hey, that's us.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Traber.
Michael Minton.
Miranda W.
P.D. Devons.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And Toronto Cop.
If we missed anybody on our list, we do apologize. Just please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance, so before we release them out. So if you are a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. But still, don't worry about it, man. Just go ahead and send us that email and we'll get it all straightened out. So you might be asking yourself, how do I become a Crusaders Club member? It's simple. Just head on over to patreon.com and search for LONGBOX Crusade. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get all the access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Come and check it out. Now let's see what messages from our platoon of loyal listeners we have waiting for us on Breaker's ComSat.
Communications Officer. Codename Breaker.
These are from episodes 52 and 53, where we covered America's Elite number 4 and Special Missions number 4. Jarrod and Pat were the host, and our guest was Jason Lady.
Pat, we got a lot of mails.
We do.
So buckle up, everybody.
I'll go ahead and I'll start us off. Our first message comes from G.I. Gary, and Gary says, Breaker dies in issue 109. Flag dies in issue 19. Colonel Hawk assumes field commander of G.I. Joe. Iron Butt Austin promotes Hawk to general in issue 45. Hashtag Orsted. Hashtag Sassafras. Hashtag Serpentor. Yes, using all the right hashtags there.
The spell check.
He got Serpentor's biggest fan in here. He can't handle it. But I appreciate Gary V with, hitting those, because we're always like, when did and he's like, all right, you B team G.I. Joe fans. Yeah. Here's when it happened. So seriously, thank you, Gary.
Yes.
All right. So Scotty Cameron says General Lawrence Flagg, not Rick Flagg, was the Joe commander that Major Blood killed. General Hawk assumed General Flagg's position. Breaker was one of the Joes that the Saw Viper killed.
More info from we have the best.
Love it. I love it.
The best support groups. Yeah. Some kind of made up name. I think this account has been banned, but it's called Serpy Matt. And Serpy Matt said, sadly, Kristatos, I only have one vintage iron grenadier, which is how it's pronounced. If I come across another, I will help you right the wrong that has haunted you for all these years. And he provided a photo of his grenadier with many other Joes in the photograph. He's fancy.
He is fancy. He is fancy.
I have had no luck finding one for you yet.
Oh, I do appreciate you.
I will double the search with my yard sales, and when I do find that perfect one, Pat, that one, because you've been looking for one so long, when I find that perfect one, I'll tell you my eBay handle so you can come bid on it.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Let me get that first bid. All right, we'll take one from Elburn Elvis, and he says, oh my.
And he included some kind of a gift that says step 5 of tightening and adjusting a tie, and I don't remember the references. The whole problem with doing these months afterward. But he's a funny guy, so I bet it's a funny reference.
I believe so. I believe it.
And then from Donovan Morgan, Special Missions may be the best G.I. Joe stories.
Verified.
Amen.
I'm going to agree with Lissy on that one. Pop Culture Affidavit chimed in and said, Special Missions had some of Herb Trimpe's best G.I. Joe art. We have talked about that, and I concur as well.
True. Then we have another one from a guy named Matt Paisso, and he says, a couple of comments on different topics, so I'll split them out. First, great talk about issue number 4. I see over on Twitter that you guys were already given some of the information you requested from the R&D division, so I won't double or triple up on there. Thank you, Matt. We do appreciate that.
Because he is part of the R&D team.
Yes, he is. He is too. And Matt says, it was hilarious to hear Jason Lady pulling a Pat. I was like, are you going to slow him down? We were too.
Look at that. He got all fired up, just whipped.
The excitement is always fun to hear.
It was fantastic to listen to. So.
He burned up the whole issue. But hey, we will take enthusiasm. Yes, that was hilarious.
Yes.
It just occurred to me that we should have had Matt read his own in his own voice.
I thought that too. It would have been
too
fun,
late now.
No, there's another one coming. There's another one coming.
So instead, I will go for Jim Mill. A little bit of info on the cover from the After Action Report Volume 2 book. This was part of the Devil's Due Company theme for the month, which was a rock poster cover theme. After this was printed, Hasbro requested that it never get printed again to being too suggestive.
Yeah, I remember that was the Scarlett blowing on the dice cover, and it was done by a music poster. It's all coming together now.
Okay. Makes sense.
That's why he also is on the research and development team. And Jim also went on to say, you can call me fancy. I've got 2 pages of original art for this issue, and he shared them both with us on the comments. And I think that's great. So, yeah, listeners, we love seeing that stuff. So please do share that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And I'll take another one from Matt Paisso, and he says,
great interview with Joe Casey. I'm liking his take on G.I. Joe, and I know you guys recorded this early, so everyone should also check out his new Blood Squad 7. It's good. Go read it. It's a great look at what might happen if a team of superheroes set in the 90s, look at the first name in the title and think back to Image's founding. And what if they return to action to today's world 30 years later? Great concept, and it hooked me from issue number 1.
Oh, nice. Josh does such good stuff.
And that was really good voice work I just did there.
You sounded
I'm giving Gene Hendricks a run for his money. I sounded just like Matt, didn't I?
You did. I guess it's technically Matt's turn, by the way.
I'll go with the very complicated one from Christian Romero. Got it.
Christian has commented on almost every episode, and all he does is post a picture of the comic we covered and says, got it. And I love it.
They thought that was too suggestive.
They did. Yeah, Hasbro. I thought the same thing. Maybe it's because she's blowing on the dice. I don't know. I don't think it's that racy.
it might have been.
All right, Pat. We have a good handful for the first time, Pat. We've had here and there. Usually Scotty Cameron is our guy, but we have a handful of YouTube comments. People are starting to listen to the show on YouTube, which I love, Pat. And we will start with Charles K. Charles. We're going to start with Charles. Charles says, that was an interesting story there, especially the part where our favorite medic who refuses to kill ends up smacking around Sergeant Horror Show. Obviously, Larry Hama had a heck of a time trying to come up with a Russian name for his behemoth of a character when he created him. Is in a contest to liberate his comments from a gang of river pirates, sexy river pirates. I'll put that part in myself. But he said river pirates. And I just think it's great that Charles came in to say, hey, on the YouTubes. And obviously, we're talking about the special missions issue here. Thanks for coming by, Charles.
All right. And I have one from one wild and crazy guy. It is Steve Martin, 623. Oh, well, it's close. Anyway, and Steve says, just finished catching up on you guys. Cool. Thanks for catching up on us. We do appreciate it. And I still love your show.
Even better.
Even better. We still love you. Look forward to more content. And yeah, Leatherneck's uniform is pretty close. Hoorah!
I'm starting to think that Steve might be a Marine himself.
Could be.
And BD Dello says, I found you on the YouTube.
Yes!
Yay!
Well, that's Brad Dello. Thanks, Brad, for finding us on YouTube.
Thank you all for those comments. We really do appreciate them. And again, thank you for everybody going out to all the different social media places. Continue to put some love into that YouTube for us. We would really appreciate it and like to see some responses there as well. So we thank you guys all for doing that. And if you want to, you can just leave us a voice message at 707-532-5269. That number again is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
And that will bring us to mission complete status for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realm of comic books, action films, vintage TV, movies, serials, and more, check out the entire Longbox Crusade Network. DJ Kristatos, where can they find that?
Well, Jarrod, you can find it on pretty much all the podcatchers out there. Just look for Longbox Crusade and you'll find us. Or go to www.longboxcrusade.com. You can find us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Longbox Crusade. So wherever you are, wherever social media is, go find us. Check us out, like us, and subscribe to us. Back to you, Jarrod.
If you'd like to chat with us online, we can be found at... Back to you, Pat.
I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad you asked, Jarrod. You can find me on the X at Kristatos01. Jarrod, where can you be found? Back to you.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. I am at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. It is all at Yard Sale Artist. Check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Let's find out where we can find those guests. I will kick it to Matt.
For me, it's same as last time. You can find me at Serpy Matt on pretty much Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever. I pop in and out of them all. So
I can be reached at Cross Country's Girl, all one word, at gmail.com. And I'm also on Facebook as Lissy Paisso.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. We will see you on the battlefield next episode, where we will cover G.I. Joe Special Missions from Marvel, number 6, Evasion. Until then, Platoon, fall out.
Yo, Joe.
The music themes for this show are done by musical genius Joe November. Please check out his SoundCloud at Josephline99. That's Josephline 99. You will not regret it.
But yeah, no, I don't remember exactly how I noticed Matt in the chat room, but I was kind of like, I kind of like this guy. And so me and my girlfriend were over in another chat talking. She's like, just talk to him. And I'm like, because I was out of a bad situation, still recovering. And so we started talking, like he said, and then I was going to fly down to see him, But my mom said, no, he may be an axe murderer. And I'm like, Mom. So I paid for his plane ticket to come up. He came up over Super Bowl weekend. And I figured if he could handle me at a Super Bowl watch party, he could handle me in real life. So, because I'm one of those screamy at the television, I know what offensive pass interference is. Thank you very much. And he moved into the apartment next to mine. And then we got married. And 21 years later, here we are.
Well, yo, Joe. And that's almost exactly how Pat and I met.
It is. I was going to say that is kind of just like how Jarrod and I met. And my wife said the same thing when I was flying down to Atlanta to meet Jarrod for the first time live and get in the car with him and drive another 3 hours. She goes, well, how do you know he's not going to do something?
What's really funny is my coworker's husband was a private detective, and she had him look him up and do some digging before she would let me do anything. So he checked out.
Yeah, same thing I did with Pat.
Yep, and I forgot to do that with Jarrod. It cost too much.
Look at what happened.
Just roll the dice.
Lucky one. Yep.
I'm gonna edit this out on my own, but I had to laugh because I was a recent episode of the Headcast with Aaron Moss, and we covered one of the cartoons, and it was very shipwreck centric, and they had to do some deep sea diving. And in the scene, they go, "Well, shipwreck's not qualified in deep sea diving," and you're like, "What?" It's a shipwreck. And then you know who was down there swimming around like a fish in his deep sea suit? Alpine. I'm like, wait, Alpine is qualified in shipwreck? What?
Check the file cards on
what
that.
What?
There's mountains underwater.
I guess. Anyway, that's silliness I got to edit out. But
everybody's got a talent that nobody knows about.
Maybe need extra credit or something just to pass something. And I'll take swimming. All right, here we go. I did that one right. Toa. It's the H for Toa. That's a good beat.
That's how you can tell he doesn't edit this show.